Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to What Spirit Said with the Hawk and I for September 22nd, 2022. This morning, I sat with Spirit having some glorious conversations on our different perspectives on lessons looking back in time. So the whole reflective perspective, when we kind of sit back and look back, when we look back on lessons in our past experiences. What's really interesting with lessons is when we look back, we have gained additional knowledge. So, what does Spirit mean by that this morning? When we look back, so let's just think of something in your past, an experience or a decision that you may have made. When you reflect back, you're looking at it from a different perspective back then. You were a different person when that lesson occurred. Even as of yesterday, you are a different version of yourself today than you were yesterday when a situation may have come forward for you. Good morning, everybody coming in. I see you. Hi there. Welcome. What I'm talking about, just to get you caught up as you come in, is I'm talking about what I channeled this morning. I'm just taking a look at my notes. I'm just talking about we have a different perspective on the lessons that we have learned when we look back in time. Every day we are a different version of ourselves. I'm different today, even though it may be just slightly. I am a different version of myself than what I was yesterday. There's a big difference in the version of who I am today versus who I was 10 years ago. And when you think about yourself, just think about that for a moment. You're very different today than what you were 10 years ago. Now, when you look back at the decisions that you made, when you feel into that, do many of you become hard on yourselves for the things that you did, the decisions that you made, how it impacted your life? How do you process that? Do you process it with, I was doing the best that I could with the knowledge that I had, with where I was standing, with the version of myself that who I was making that decision? It's really easy, isn't it, to look at those decisions and think, oh, I should have known better, or I wish I would have known then what I know now. And what Spirit asks to do today when I was sitting in meditation is to kind of be a little bit more understanding towards the previous versions of who you were back then. When you sit with who you were back then, one thing that comes up is, were you doing the best that you could with what you had? With the knowledge that you had, with the situation that you were in? Was that version of you doing the best that you could? And when I sat in that, I thought, there's been parts of me that I've been really hard on over the years when I've kind of reflected and thought, oh, I wish I would have known what I know now, or, that what was I thinking back then? What I was thinking, for the most part, 99.99% of the time, as I'm sure all of you, is looking back, I was doing the best that I could. And sometimes what we have to kind of insert in that is the forgiveness piece, that self-forgiveness. We were learning, we were navigating, we were sifting and sorting, we were faced with things that maybe we didn't feel we were equipped to deal with. And we made those decisions based on the version of ourselves, where we were at that time, who you are now. And you're supposed to have grown, and you're supposed to have kind of put different pieces together, and spiritually you have connected to a different version of yourself. Self-forgiveness and understanding where you were at that point in time can be a struggle. I totally understand that. But when we reflect back on time, what I really want you to hear today is, feel the version of who you were at that time. Were you doing the best to navigate through that? You can't go back in time and change the decisions and change the past based on your knowledge now. You need to be able to insert that self-love and that self-forgiveness into that part of your past. The past is the past, and it's behind us for a reason. It was meant to teach us, we were meant to learn from it, but we were also meant to tap into that previous version of ourselves and insert that forgiveness, insert that feeling of I was doing the best that I could at that time. It's almost like, if it's like asking a kindergarten student to do grade 8 math sometimes. That's kind of how you have to look at it. If there were situations in your past, the younger version of you, you had a different perspective. You had different knowledge. You were meant to learn something. Do you see how different that feels? It feels very different when you kind of look at it that way versus I made all these mistakes and I should have known better and what was I thinking and I hate myself for that. You see how different that feels? One tip that I often do when I am struggling with the lessons that I've learned in the past is I will often literally, and I've talked about this before in one of my YouTube videos, I will literally sit with that version of myself. So I may sit with the 25-year-old version of Lana and kind of reflect back and give her permission to let go of how things went. Give her permission to kind of forgive herself for whatever she was going through. And I will ask that question. Was that version of Lana doing the best that she could with where she stood? It's something that we all struggle with. We all struggle with that self-forgiveness piece. We all struggle with we have more knowledge now than perhaps we did in even yesterday or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. No matter where you want to go back and reflect, you were a different version of yourself then. So if you were doing the best that you could with the tools that you had in your toolbox of life, how can you sit in that space of of not unforgiveness or not liking that part of you and not inserting the healing? We're always in that mode of healing. I've talked about this before as well. We're always in that mode of healing. There's always bumps and bruises and life moments that require us to kind of tap in and feel into, I was doing the best I could with where I was standing. And I can only go forward from where I am today with the lessons, with the knowledge, with the spiritual growth. I'm learning. It's that self-talk piece that's really important. So I'm just going to read again what I channeled from Spirit. We all have a different perspective on lessons, looking back on time. Insert that piece of forgiveness and allowing that version of yourself to have a moment of healing. I know it's a simple concept. I think we all need to hear it. I think we all need to have that understanding and be a little bit soft on ourselves with lesson learned. And I did the best that I could. I did the best that I could with what I had. Sometimes I go on these little rants with myself, especially if I'm struggling with something. I will insert that little rant. I'm doing the best that I can from where I'm standing with the tools that I have. I'm navigating through that with the best that I have with what I know and with where I've been. Feels very different than from being really tough on yourself, doesn't it? I am going to take a moment. I'm going to go back. I haven't been able to read the questions while I'm talking because while I'm talking, I'm often still channeling from the spirit dimension. So I will put my glasses on and have a little look back at some of your questions or comments here because what you think is really important, you guys. So welcome. Happy birthday. What a wonderful day to have a birthday. I do hope you have a wonderful day. Dan, I'm so bad at forgiving my past self. It's something I'm trying hard to work on. So Dan, I think that you really kind of have to sit in some of the things that Spirit spoke this morning with being able to tap into were you doing the best that you could with the knowledge that you had from where you were standing. Insert that in there. Talk to that past version of you like you would a good friend. What would you tell somebody who came to you for advice with a struggle? You would go at it with that self-love piece, with that forgiving piece. Be kinder to yourself when it comes to working through some forgiveness things with yourself. I do hope you are all having a beautiful morning. Marcia, happy birthday to you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm not doing any readings on these morning sessions with what Spirit said. I'm going to stick to the topic with what I've channeled. Sometimes I'm kind to my past, sometimes not so much. Amber, I think that we all go through periods where we're really hard on ourselves. I think we all struggle with that. It is a common struggle for most of us. And that's when I channel something from Spirit, it's a collective message to a group of people who may be having those personal struggles. Um, let's see here. I'm glad that some of this resonates with you. Casey, struggled with addiction 10 years ago, clean this past July, 10 years. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you. I think that that is an incredible, incredible thing to overcome. And I'm sending you so much love and light. Joanne, it's me. I am learning. Yes, it is you. And I forgive myself. Absolutely. Those are powerful words. You know, we talked before on the channel about how our words are create our reality, and our words are so powerful. You know, speaking to yourself is an important tool. And how we speak to ourselves is such an important tool. So when reflecting back on past lessons, when we look back over time, remember to keep your perspective kind of in your awareness. What I was learning, doing the best that I could, and kind of remembering that we came here to learn lessons. We came here to navigate through that. Dan, I always try to go forward, doing the right thing each day when I can, so it makes sense when I should be easier on myself. Beautifully said, Dan. I love how you worded that. I think that's incredible. As we navigate through the rest of the week, I'm wishing you so much love, light, and blessings. I will just give you a little bit of a heads up. I am leaving for a little tour to St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm leaving early Thursday morning, so I won't be live doing sessions or doing readings. I will try to get in what a spirit said. If not, I will see you all when I get back. Love, light, blessings, and a spirit-guided day.